The once proud Mammoth sitting on top of the league, fighting for their playoff lives this weekend.
You're down to the last 2 weeks of the season. The mathematical possibilities, who can finish, where, when, and why, will make your head spin. That and more this week on Lacrosse Inside the Game.
So the World Travelers back, trip to Philly, 2 wins for the Rock last weekend. Great weekend if you're a Toronto Rock fan. How was the plane ride?
Oh, it was great. You know, thanks a lot to Porter Airways for the way they looked after us down there and back. And of course to the Rock management for taking all their front office staff and the game production staff with them. We went to South Street. You can see that little video. Philly, you got a great city there. It's a lot of fun, Gary, and I hope you get the chance to go with me again sometime.
And the big news on the weekend, other than you having fun and having a cheesesteak, the big news on the weekend, the Rock go 2-0 out of their 5-game slide, and now going into this weekend, they're, I guess you could say, all but guaranteed a spot, unless they have a colossal collapse, so to speak. But they're sitting pretty right now in the Eastern Division.
Yeah, they sure are, you know, and it's going to be a tough one in Buffalo on Saturday. We're going to be there on Saturday. We'll bring you a little footage from that game as well. Buffalo's got to do something this weekend. It's desperation for them. If the Rock want to keep rolling the way they are, it's going to be a great game. I guarantee you. Buffalo, get out there, full house. I want to hear this for myself for the first time.
So let's touch on the Western Division first. It's a little bit easier. The East is still just a dogfight. The Western Division, though, you've got Washington and Edmonton. Edmonton winning last weekend, first place tie, both teams at 9-4. The scenario right now for them pretty much is win this weekend and you're in. Going into possibly next weekend, if they lose and other teams win, those two teams pretty much control their own destiny. Whereas Calgary and Minnesota need to win as well as get a loss from these guys, the Mammoth. And the Mammoth, oh lordy, 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 the mighty have fallen.
My, oh my, I don't know what's going on there, and I feel real sorry for them. They're really proud fans there in Denver. They outdraw everybody. Still, the programs they got there for the kids and stuff, and it's just, you know, it's all sports are cyclical, Gary. You know, some teams have their up years, some teams have their down, and they had their moment in the sun a couple of years ago, and now they're going to have to rebuild.
Well, like, as I said, they're not mathematically eliminated. They do need to win outright, and they need. Okay, so switching over to the Eastern Division here, not as clear cut there, but a couple of front runners again. Orlando and Toronto, both doing well. Pretty much going into this weekend with a win will guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs, and only better things from there if other teams lose.
Yeah, a combination of Rochester, Buffalo losses, and a Boston loss this weekend. The Rock's sitting at 8-6 right now, Gary. They can clinch a playoff berth with a win, or 2 Rochester losses this weekend. They can clinch at least a second-place finish, and that's important because that gets you the home playoff game. Right. I was talking that up a lot last weekend when I was with the team, and that's very important for any franchise, especially the Rock right now, because I believe that we're going to see a great crowd at the next home game, and a playoff match in our barn is going to be great. It's going to be like old times, you know, so that's what we're really looking forward to.
And home field has been huge for everybody this year so far. Orlando, just don't forget, Orlando at 8-4, 2 games in hand still on Toronto, so if they can pull out a couple of wins in that, they're going to pretty much clinch that division. Rochester, Boston kind of in the mix, of course, and then Philly with that loss last weekend, that really, really hurt them. They're not, I guess, as desperate as Colorado is, but they're on the bottom looking up at everybody else.
Yeah, they looked pretty like disorganized, and when they got down early in the Rock, and obviously the Rock was on a real high from the wins with Calgary the night before, you could see that there was nobody to take the reins, and everybody was trying to do it by themselves, and they came up against a hot goalie in Steve Dietrich, and it was good night nice, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
It was over.
So let's move on to local lacrosse here for a bit. We'll talk local lacrosse for a minute or two here, and then we'll get on to our weekly picks. Local lacrosse, the minor lacrosse organization's field lacrosse season officially announced, I guess, or the schedules went up as I heard about it today. Starting next weekend, April 17th, teams across Ontario, novice, pee-wee, bantam, midget, ABC, all the way down. Starting next weekend for the next 5 consecutive weekends. They're at various locations in East and West, and it will all culminate at the second last week of May, I believe 21st weekend, at a provincial championship in Brampton.
Terrific.